to rub even more salt into our Canadian wounds, the Queen of Dodging Canada, Taylor Swift, added more dates to her Eras Tour, and they still don't include any stops in our country. So disappointing that Prime Minister Justin Trudeau took matters into his own hands, tweeting at the mega pop star, "It's me. Hi, I know places in Canada would love to have you, so don't make it another cruel summer. We hope to see you soon." The new dates include stops in the UK and Germany, Poland, Italy, France, Austria, but you guessed it, no stops in Canada, even despite the backlash she got when she announced her American concerts. And no, we're not okay, Taylor. So why do big artists seem to be dodging Canada on their tours lately? Joining us now is music publicist Eric Alper. Eric, what's with Taylor Swift and so far the Eagles not making any stops in Canada?
I just want to say first off to Taylor Swift, look at what you're making us do. You're making our prime minister sad. Our prime minister had to tweet begging for you to come here. But I think one of the main reasons is that a lot of these superstar artists have not toured the world in a long time, in at least a couple of years. Certainly with Taylor Swift, she hasn't come to Canada since 2018. The Eagles are regular visitors to Canada, but I think the main reason is that this country is very, very large in terms of a land mass with not a lot of people in it. In fact, the entire population of Canada is smaller than California, and we've seen Taylor Swift now do 6 nights in Los Angeles. The entire population fits in the tri-state area of New York, New Jersey, and Boston. And for a country that doesn't have arenas and stadiums like the US or the United Kingdom does, it's really hard to try to get them to come here when they could easily play to 60, 70, even 80,000 people a night. Instead of, the long drives and the sheer amount of staff and people that work on these tours in the hundreds and hundreds. So they have to keep them working every single day, even if it's a travel day just to get to the next major city in Canada.
So would you say it's simply not lucrative or worth it for them?
It's always one of those things where you always want to make sure that your fan base stays happy. So I'm never going to say for an artist that it's not worth it, but certain countries do take kind of precedent over smaller ones. Taylor Swift and the Eagles haven't really played in certain places that have been announced on their tour in a long time. The world's media buzz is generated from America. That's probably why the Eagles are hitting their own country first, and then they'll go out for the rest of the world. In the case of the Eagles, they haven't really announced how long and how many dates. It just says it's the final one. With Elton John, it's now been 3.5 years. And so, who knows how long that tour will happen. So I have a feeling that both will come probably in 2024. People will just have to wait maybe a little bit longer.
How much money, time, and effort goes into taking these shows into different countries and continents?
Every time that they come, each person has to get a visa in order to come here, and that costs money. Every time that they come into Canada, they're playing on a 30-cent loss on the dollar that those artists are not going to ask their staffer to take a 30% hit. So they have to actually be paid a little bit more than what most people might think it is if they're just going to tour in Canada. So certainly it's not just as easy as going over the border. Taylor Swift specifically has a laser focus when it comes to her success. She not only wants to continue to be the biggest star on the planet, but she wants the Eras Tour to be the highest grossing tour of all time. Elton John just crashed through the $900 million mark for his farewell tour. So when you're somebody like Taylor Swift, you have to take into consideration how long you're going to play. She's doing 3 hour shows right now. You also have to take into consideration how many people you're actually bringing with you in order to keep all those people going. Off days for artists are dangerous because you still have to pay all those people. But certainly those local economies where Taylor Swift and the Eagles and Ed Sheeran and Beyonce are playing are definitely seeing millions of dollars being poured into their local economy through restaurants and hotels and parking, and not to mention all the food and alcohol that's being served that night too.
Thanks so much for joining us, Eric.
Thank you so much for having me. We'll talk soon.